In a world that seems to run on constant updates, and let's face it, a lot of digital showmanship, have you ever wondered about the people who just stay quiet online? It's so easy to misunderstand them, to think they lack confidence, or maybe that they're anxious. But what if that silence isn't a weakness at all? What if it's actually a profound sign of strength? That's exactly what we're diving into.
So, yeah, this is the big question we're tackling. When someone chooses to be invisible online, is it a sign of anxiety, or is it the mark of what we're calling a quiet architect? Someone who is deliberately and skillfully building a life of real substance, far away from the constant demand for a spotlight. Okay, so let's kick things off with something I think a lot of us feel, the performance paradox. It's that constant nagging pull between the pressure to perform your life for a digital audience and that deep down desire to just, live it for yourself. And this, right here, shows the massive gap between how things look and how they really are. On the one hand, what people often see is a lack of confidence, maybe even social anxiety. But the reality, the truth is often the complete opposite. It's a powerful indicator of genuine inner security and really high emotional intelligence. And that brings us to this really cool identity, the quiet architect. Now, this isn't about hiding or avoiding the world. It's about a deliberate act of construction. It completely reframes this choice as one of intentional design for a stronger, more meaningful life. Here's the absolute core of it. The quiet architect doesn't need to post their wins, their vacations, or their happy moments to feel like they're real. The validation they need, it comes from within. Their sense of self, their feeling of completeness, it just doesn't depend on likes, comments, or shares. Okay, so where does this inner strength even come from? What's it built on? For the quiet architect, it's not just some vague feeling. It's a really powerful inner foundation, and it's grounded in some well-established psychological principles that give you stability in a pretty chaotic digital world. All right, the first piece of this foundation is a concept from psychology called an internal locus of evaluation. I know, it sounds a bit technical, right? But it's actually super simple. It just means your personal scorecard is internal. You are the judge of your own worth, using your own values and standards, not the ever-changing opinions of a digital crowd. And wow, the difference this makes is just huge. When you have an external locus, your self-worth gets tied to these fleeting things like social approval. It means your confidence can swing wildly with every little algorithm change. But with an internal locus, the focus shifts to something solid, the integrity of your character, and your confidence becomes a permanent, stable foundation. It's a structure that's actually built to last. Now, the second pillar is something called self-concept clarity. This is a big one, and it's a recognized trait in high performers. It just means you have this crystal clear, unwavering sense of who you are, what you stand for, and what truly matters to you. And it's totally independent of all the outside noise. And when you have that kind of clarity, what do you get? You get secure self-esteem. And this is so important. It's a type of confidence that's self-sustaining. It doesn't need to be constantly fed with external attention because, well, its source of fuel is internal. So all of this naturally leads to a very deliberate, very smart choice, prioritizing peace over performance. The quiet architect sees online silence not as some passive absence, but as an active, intelligent strategy to protect their most valuable resources, their focus and their energy. And by making this choice, the quiet architect gets to sidestep a huge psychological trap known as social comparison theory. They understand that scrolling through social media means you're basically comparing your messy, complex, behind-the-scenes life to everyone else's perfectly polished highlight reel. And let's be honest, that's an unwinnable and deeply unfair game to play. And check this out. The source material uses this incredibly powerful phrase for it: biological sabotage. I mean, think about that. That's what this constant unfair comparison does to our minds. It actively works against our well-being, basically manufacturing anxiety, emotional instability, and eventually total burnout. So by choosing to opt out of that whole game, the quiet architect gets some major strategic wins. They protect their mental health from that digital illusion. They preserve their cognitive energy for deep and complex work. They stay laser focused on their actual goals, and they achieve a state of much greater mental efficiency. It's a clear choice of substance over status every single time. All right, let's tie all of this together. The choice to be quiet online isn't about hiding from the world. It's about building something real, something strong, something that is truly built to last. I really want to let this quote sink in for a second because it just nails the whole idea so perfectly. While other people might be focused on, painting the outside of their building and hanging up bright signs, the quiet architect is down in the basement, silently reinforcing the steel. They're focused on structural integrity, building something that will endure long, long after all the superficial trends have faded away. And that's really the bottom line, isn't it? The source of your real power, your emotional stability, your intellectual capacity, it lives inside of you. It's generated and sustained internally, not downloaded from a screen or validated by an algorithm. So, here's a final thought I want to leave you with. The next time you feel that pressure, that little nudge to post to prove it, just ask yourself, what foundation am I standing on right now? Is it the fleeting one of external approval, or is it the solid, unshakable one of my own inner security? Because at the end of the day, whether we're talking about a skyscraper or a life of real substance, the most critical work is almost always done quietly. The strongest structures are built away from the public eye.